once I have my sketch, I need a cup of water. I need a paper towel. I have two brushes I can use. I have my ink brush that came with a kit, and then I'm going to try out the brush that comes with our watercolors. And now your brush is going to be very stiff until you wet it. It's got sizing on it. There's nothing wrong with it, it just has sizing. It's like a kind of almost like a soap. And that's something that you can do if your brush ever gets like all spread out and messed up. You can wet it and put some soap and make it into the point that you want and let it dry. And then when you come back next time, chances are it's almost like hair setting. It'll have taken the shape that you need it to take. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little puddle of water to all the colors that I think I'm going to use today. Now I know my pear is a yellow pear, and so I'm going to go ahead and pick up a little bit of that yellow and lay down a wash. If I want my color to be really even, I can wet the entire area, and I'm going to do that with my leaf. But right now, I'm just going to leave a few little white highlights, because why use my white paint if I don't need to? And I can just come in with my yellow and put more of it where I see it now. Adding more yellow is not going to make that a darker yellow. That's where my color pencil is going to come in very handy. I can come in with a little bit of brown and let that blend out. And this is called wet and wet, where my paint blends in with the other color while it's still wet. And that's going to be very different from when I layer a glaze. And a glaze means that I am layering the color once the layer underneath is fully dry. Now say I lay down something like this and I don't like it, I can use my paper towel to lift it up. It's kind of like an eraser, but you gotta do it while it's wet. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to do a wash. I'm going to do a wash of green on the leaf, a light green, and I'm going to just wet the entire leaf and have that color to get that light green. And I'm going to let that, since it's all wet, I can now spread it, and I can spread that light green over the entire area very quickly. I have a darker green, and here I go. I'm going to let it blend wet and wet. Close. Now I'm going to have to leave a little bit of a white edge around that pear because it's still wet. If my pear is dry, I can go right up to it, but it's not. It's still wet. And so I'm going to go ahead. Now here, this is still wet, and I want for my gray to blend, because I'm talking about a kind of color reflection that's happening here. All right, start to put another layer of green. And I noticed that my pear has a slight shaded area here.